It's CJ!
That's me, CJ the Lego guy. The JOJOLands. Chapter 8. Let's go look at luxury watches. Hey everyone, CJ here. Hope you're all doing well. With another JOJOLands chapter comes another JOJOLands chapter review. So let's get right into it, starting off with the cover page for the chapter, which has a cool little visual of JOJO showing off one of his new JOJO poses, I guess, along with a key visual, which I feel like summarizes the events of the previous chapters. Well, with Rohan there and all of the luxurious things, the car, the money, and our titular Joe squad as well. I thought it was kind of funny where next to the characters, I thought it was showing off their motives for being a part of the team, while with Dragana having some luxurious things around him, and then Usagi having money around him. I thought that was funny. But yes, as the narration goes on, in this adventure revolving around the lava rock, what yet unknown mechanisms await. And here I noticed that we get that cool little symbol from the previous chapter, but instead of Jodio being in the middle of it, it's now the lava rock, which kind of makes me feel like this symbol was intended to be a visual display and explanation as to how the lava rock works, as it's further explained later. Well, with the arrows and then the points of the symbol itself, but also the main arrow that's pointing downward, which we'll get into the explanation later. But pretty much, it made me feel like this little symbol is supposed to represent the lava rock and its powers and the way that it works. The chapter opens up with some casual demeanor from the Joe squad, as this is after their fight with the cats in the jungle, and they feel very much secure, as with the police around them ignoring them, they're pretty confident that Rohan kept his word and didn't call the police on them. And once the Joe squad have a time to chat, I found it so funny that Usagi kept calling Dragana Pink-chan. And when I read that Dragana actually called him out for not only calling him Pink-chan, but the fact that he's not even wearing any pink, made me laugh so much when I read it. Because that was just so hilarious. I was like, yeah, why is he calling him Pink-chan if he's not even wearing pink? And I'm glad that Dragana finally acknowledged it in the story. That was pretty funny. Oh, Usagi is just such a great goofball. But yes, as the chapter continues to go on, Usagi takes the lava rock and begins to explain his hypothesis on how the lava rock works, and given the evidence from the previous chapters, what with the caviar and the diamond as well. And as the conversation goes any further, Jodio also adds on to his little explanation on how the lava rock works, which I feel like that symbol comes into play, in which it does gravitate things of expense around it towards the lava rock, but with the main arrow being probably the highest profitable item or something grander to do with the main thing that the lava rock's attracting. Who knows? Because this might be a stretch, but one could say that stand users could be attracted to the lava rock as well, and that could be the main arrow of the symbol. But that could just be me over speculating here. I thought this was so funny when Usagi's being like super buddy-buddy to Jodio, and Jodio's like, I ain't having it. My bad, dude. To test his hypothesis, Usagi uses a $20 bill that he got from Dragana, and after some funny shenanigans, sure enough, his hypothesis became true, as miraculously the $20 bill came back to the Joe squad in some form or fashion, which in this case, it managed to end up being in Paco's drinks when he brought it over to the group, which begs the question that there must be some means of items to return to the lava rock, either by gravity or just by pure coincidence. But with the experiment a success, Dragana comes up with a little scheme of his. And since they're right up next to a fancy watch store, Dragana comes up with the idea to use the lava rock in order to grab some luxury watches. And since they have time to spare before their plane takes off, Dragana figures that using the lava rock, they can manage to take some watches for themselves without appearing to be thieves, in which the cops wouldn't be tipped off to what they're doing. And I find it funny that Dragana's like, oh, Paco and Jody are too inconspicuous based off what they're wearing, so I'll just take you, Usagi. Yeah, as if you're... As if none of you are bizarre looking with your outfits. Although the outfits are good. The point being the fact that Dragana's like, we're gonna try not to stick out, given we are JoJo characters. And then just have to admire this shot here in the chapter. Just Araki didn't need to go full painting within a chapter, but look at this. This was just an amazing shot here. And then sure enough, after Dragana prepares himself for the task at hand, putting the lava rock within one of his chess pieces, JOJO reiterates the theme of the JOJOLands. This is the story of one boy becoming filthy rich. It's nice that while Usagi and Dragana are doing their thing, Paco and Jody are just hanging outside, waiting and bonding with each other. Some bro time is nice between squad members. But with their scheme at hand, Dragana and Usagi continue to try to be as confident and nonchalant as possible, but then they keep kind of losing it a little bit here and there and giving themselves up. What with a funny example being Usagi saying Polexes instead of Rolexes. And sure enough, after getting the bank teller watch salesman guy's attention, he brings Dragana and Usagi to the back to look at the luxury watches from the safety of the back room. And sure enough, Dragana takes a fancier look at the watches and keeps it very close to where the lava rock is hidden, in hopes that the lava rock would register the watches as luxury items in order to have it gravitate towards it. But the watch salesman is already picking up on their scheme and locks the door behind him and brings in the security guards into the room, since one of the watches that Dragana had been checking out has just mysteriously disappeared, which could only mean that the watch salesman already knows that Dragana and Usagi are plotting a scheme to take some watches for themselves. And sure enough, when we catch up with Paco and Jodio, they're enjoying their chicken from a restaurant nearby. And just as they're about to head on out and move the car around, Jodio notices something very ominous. And you could tell that some of the bad ominous music will be playing here because this part was very creepy and bizarre. Jodio panically turns around in all corners trying to spot out any dangers approaching he and Paco, since he feels like what he saw in the bag was a warning, which Paco is very unclear as to what's happening. Until he too looks into the bag and then finds that the bag is full of the cat heads. The heads of the cats from the previous chapter. Poor kitties. But yeah, that's just some JoJo horror right there. And sure enough, that tips off Jodio and Paco that something wrong is astray. And that leaves us with the tease of the crazy things that might and definitely will happen next chapter, whatever they'll be. And it's very exciting to see who or what is doing this and what their exact motives is, other than retrieving the lava rock. And just as the narration concludes, it's time to give it back. When I read the ending that said this series will be on hiatus until next issue, I was like, no, already on hiatus. And then I realized, oh wait, it comes back in November, so it's just skipping 1 month. I was like, that's fine. And that means that for this next arc, there'll be lots of needed time for writing and drawing, which is going to be very exciting once it does come back. Can't wait to see what this next arc is going to be about, once it's all fully written, of course. But with that, the short chapter with lots of interesting things happening comes to an end. And once we pick up back with JOJOLands in 2 months, we'll continue with the next JOJOLands chapter review. But what do you all think about what could be happening or what will happen? What with theories and ideas that you all might have? Write them all down in the comment section down below, for I'd love to hear what all of you are thinking of. And hey, I'd just like to say thank you for watching the video if you've made it this far. Your help and support is always very much appreciated here on the channel. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and also dropping likes on the videos as well, and checking out some of my other content here too. But with that, I hope you all continue to have a great day, and I'll catch you next time, especially for the next JOJOLands chapter review. But with that, I'm CJ, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye for now. Oh, yeah?